This conference will now be recorded.
Let me delete everything. The first line of code I'm going to write, that is your CSV function. I'm going to read the data set into my variable called as my data. I'm just reading that. Here I can go to my particular path and I can read my data set. So this is my data set. I'm going to read this data set into a variable called as my data. I think it is not there. Nothing is there in this data. So let me choose the right one. Universities, I'm going to read that data set into my R. So you can see here your data consists of 7 columns and also your university names with respect to your 25 observations. This is your data set. So I'm going to implement my PCA on this data set, and later I'm going to implement clustering on this data. So as of now, this is just a function to help to just read your help of this particular function called as princomp. So there is a function called as princomp in order to implement your principal component analysis. This is the princomp is a function. If you just type this, you can be able to see under your help section, there will be princomp help menu. So you can read this and you can use it, and it will have all the details related to your princomp function. What are the variables it will take, each and everything. So apart from this help function, you can also use question mark function name. That will also display the same thing. Either you can use help or you can use question mark, or double question mark also will work, or else directly you can go to help and also you can search here. Whatever you want, you can search it out here, or directly you can search under this help section. Now, this particular line of code, I'll not execute this line of code. I'm going to do this. So from your my data set, I'm removing your first column, that is your university names. First column I'm removing and storing it in a variable called as my data. Sorry, just data. Here I can specify like this also, all the rows, and subtract your first column. Don't include your first column, or directly you can write it as -1 also, that will also work. So let me run this line of code and see what is there in your data. What is there in your data? So if you see this data, it is not having your university name.
name.
It is not displayed. So this is your data. So as I told you that if your data is numerical data, we can implement principal component analysis. Now in the line number 13, I'm going to attach this new data set called as data to your module or program. Now, before COR of data, before implementing your principal component, I'm checking whether it is having correlation or not. So I'm just passing this COR of data set name called as data. Here you can see that there will be some correlation exist. Before applying PCA, your data will be correlated. So you can see here between SAT and top 10. See here, it is 0.92, and also acceptance ratio is minus 0.88. And anything else? Yes, between top 10 and acceptance ratio, it is minus 0.85. Acceptance ratio and SAT score, it is 88. So there is some correlation between your inputs. So your data before applying your PCA, it is correlated. But once you apply your PCA, your data will become uncorrelated, and your correlation will not be there. Your correlation between your PCs will be 0. That is what we have yesterday discussed with respect to theory part. So I'm just running this line of code summary of data. So if I just run this, it is going to display mean, minimum, first quarter, all these things of your all the 6 columns. All the 6 columns, it is going to display minimum, maximum, first, mean, median, like this. So this is just your, you can call it as descriptive statistics, like summary statistics you have find out of your data set. Now I am going to implement my principal component analysis algorithm by using a function called as PRINCOMP, print comp, and I am passing my data set name, that is your data. And also before applying your PCA, your data was correlated. So that's the reason I'm writing it as COR is equal to true, and storing this algorithm in a variable called as PCA OBJ. You can give any name. You can give PCA model PCA, model name, whatever the model name you want, you can specify. I have given it as PCA OBJ. I'm going to execute this line of code. I'm going to execute this line of code, and you can see here summary of PCA OBJ. If you run this, you are going to get the output of your PCA OBJ model. PCA OBJ is nothing but your principal component analysis model. If you want to see the output of that model, you can go with loadings of PCA OBJ, summary of PCA OBJ, or STR of PCA OBJ. STR will give you what type of data it is. So let me run each and every line and explain what it is. So I'm going to execute summary of PCA OBJ. So yesterday I told you, right, when I explained you about that particular output, it was displaying with respect to proportion of variance. You asked me, somebody asked me about your variance, right? It was 4.76, but here it is not with respect to your variance, it is displayed as standard deviation. Earlier it was displaying variance, and standard deviation is nothing but square root of variance. Now it is displaying as standard deviation, but you should see here proportion of variance is clearly mentioned as 0.7686. This is your PC1. If you use component 1, the proportion of percentage is 76%, 76.86. Second one, 13%. Third one, 4.7%. Fourth one, 2.7. This is 2.07, and this is 0.04%. 0.04%. Got it? So is it arranged in descending order? Is it arranged in descending order? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So variances will be arranged in descending order. You can see here it is 76, 13, 4.7, 2.7, 2.07, and 0.04. It is arranged in descending order. So you can see here cumulative percentage here. Cumulative proportion is 76 plus 13 is 89. This is 94. This is 97. 99.5. Including everything, it is 100%. 1.000 is nothing but your 100%.
Yogesh, can you tell me regarding that correlation one? Why you're using the?
See, yesterday we discussed, right? Yesterday I told you before applying your PCA, your data will be correlated, right? Why it is correlated? Yesterday I told you, right? Because they are parallel to each other. Volume and weight, I gave an example, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Before
Yeah.
you implement your PCA, your inputs will be correlated as they are parallel to each other. Okay, so in order to just show you whether it is really correlated or not, just I've used that function called as COR, nothing else. Just to make sure that you understand that point, I have written here COR of data. It is not mandatory that you need to run this.
But in the print.com, the data core is called true. We have to use that the line.
Yes, this one you need to use, because before implementation of your PCA, your data is correlated, right? So that is the reason I have written as COR is equal to true.
Yogesh, when we are applying the summary,
Yeah.
so we are getting those mean and all those things, right?
Yes.
Mean, median, and all. But then
Yeah.
when we are applying summary here,
Where?
like this part, summary of PCOBJ,
Yes.
we are
Why
getting the
you are not
standard
getting that,
deviation.
right?
Yeah,
Oh, that is your common sense. Who is this? Devanshu?
yeah.
Yes, Devanshu, here I am calculating the summary of my data set. Okay, I am passing my parameter as data set name, but here I am passing the algorithm model name summary. Got the difference?
Okay.
Got the difference? And whatever the parameter you are passing, see, in your clustering, hierarchical clustering, I had passed plot of fit. So if I pass this, what did you get? You got your dendrogram, right?
Yeah.
Yes or no? Yes. But if I
Yeah.
use plot function for scatter plot also, I'll be using same thing, right? Plot of
Scatter
x
plot.
comma
Yeah,
y,
yeah.
you are going to get scatter plot. But when I use this plot of it, I did not get scatter plot, I got dendrogram. So the parameter what you are passing, that is more important than the function. Because if you just see this parameter fit is nothing but your hierarchical clustering algorithm name. But here it is your data set column names. Yes, and Ram is asking a question saying that if correlation is equal to false, what will happen? So let me just run this. Correlation is equal to false and see your summary of PCA OBJ. So if your summary, if you are not passing your correlation is equal to true, it will display in the terms of like this. Because actually this is also true, that is also true. But the thing is, before PCA, always your correlation will be true. So that's the reason I passed this. See, it will not show with respect to your proportion of variance in an easy understandable way. Here it will show with respect to your 99%. See, here only if you use this, you'll think that it is your 99.99% here only. Then no need to go for all these things, right? So that is the reason you should give what will be your actual correlation before applying PCA. Got it, Ram? So you should not give it as false, because always your data will be correlated before implementing your PCA.
Okay, so we need to check the correlation earlier before applying this, just for confirmation.
No. It is mandatory. You should give here correlation is equal to true, because as I told you yesterday itself, it is your assumption that before implementation of your PCA, your data set will be 100% correlated. Just to show you that is there any real true correlation, just I ran this line. That's it.
Okay.
That is mandatory. You should follow this COR is equal to true.
Okay.
Okay, now you ran the summary of PCA OBJ. If you run this str of PCA OBJ, you're going to get like this. It is of no use. It will display the standard deviation, what type it is it number, loadings, what it is, center, what it is, scale, what it is, each and everything it is going to display what type of data. It is of no use. So you need not have to run this line of code, but you need to go for loadings of PCA OBJ. Loadings of PCA OBJ. If you run this loadings of PCA OBJ, it will display your this thing, proportion of each and every PCs. See, loadings of PC OBJ is nothing but this is your, what is this? AI1, AI2, AI3, yesterday we discussed, right? So these are nothing but your weights. See here. These are nothing but your weights. In order to get your weights, you should use this loadings of PCA OBJ. Got it? And also you can see the total number of PC objects are AI1, AI2, AI3, AI4, AI5, AI6 totally. So it is proportionally dividing that 6 components divided by 100. It is displaying first one is 16%, second one is 16%, third one is 16%. Like this, addition of all this is nothing but your 100%. This is just a proportion of your loadings, but you should only consider this as your weights. These are nothing but your weights. So what is the formula for your PCI?
AI1 into X1 plus AI2 into X2
Yes.
up to AIN into XN.
Yes. So who is this caller 01 just now joined? Bharat, is it you? Have you joined from your mobile? Who has joined from? Who has joined from caller 01? Neha, have you joined from mobile? Or Devanshu, who is this? Caller 01. You should tell Neha, that is what I'm asking you, right? Please reply
I've
if
joined
you're
from my
not.
phone.
Okay,
Yeah, I've joined
okay,
the conversation.
fine. So this is your loadings. Loadings of PC OBJ will give you your PCA weights. And loadings of PCA OBJ is done. Now I'm going to run this Windows to open a pop-up window like this, and then I'm going to use plot function. See, here I'm not passing your X and Y, here I'm passing my output of my principal component analysis algorithm plot of PCA OBJ. If I plot this, it is going to give you a bar plot design like this. What are the proportion of your PC1 is like this, PC2 is like this, PC3 is like this, PC4. As I told you, it will display in this format as a descending order. So just see how it looks. So your PC1 captures maximum variance. Your PC1 capture maximum variance. PC2 capture second maximum. PC3, PC4, PC5, PC6. This is your additional, you can call it as additional plot. If you want to just take a copy of this and you can add it in your slides. If you are doing some reporting and all, you can use this as your presentation part. Now you came to know your plots, you came to know your weights, but after weights, AI1 into X1, AI2 into X2, AI3 into X3, like this, you need to see your PC1 entire for all the 25 universities, PC2 for all 25 universities, PC3 for all 25 universities. So how do we get that is, you can see here, I'm not going to use this, sorry, I'm not going to use this. I'm just using this PCA OBJ. So this PCA OBJ is nothing but the output of your algorithm name. Under that PCA OBJ, I'm going to take scores. PCA OBJ scores is nothing but it will give you the principal component scores for all the original variables. Because we have passed how many original variables here? 6 variables. You are going to get PC1 till PC6. Rather than getting your original columns, you're getting PC1 to PC6. See, I'm going to run first this 29 line number 29. Because of space constraint, it is displaying here. Let me just pull this into. Once again, let me run this. See here. See here. PCA OBJ dollar scores, you have ran it. You come to know it is PC1, PC2, PC3, PC4, 5, 6 for all the 25 universities. First one displays first university, second one second university. Like that, for all the 25 universities, your PCs have been generated. Your PCs have been generated. So now, I don't want all 100%. I don't want all 100%. I need only 94% or 95%. How many PCs we need to choose by seeing this? If I want only 95%, can I choose only 3? Yes?
Yes, yeah. 3 pieces.
Yes,
Yes, I
first
can
3.
choose only 2 because it is 94.75. Okay, for example purpose, I'm choosing this 94.75%, Sanjay, don't mind. So I'm going to choose only 3 components and I'm going to drop this 4, 5 and 6, and then I'm going to implement clustering on that. See here, I'm going to choose only PCA OBJ dollar scores. See this line of code I'm executing. I'm going to choose only these 3 columns. These 3 columns are nothing but your component 1, PC1, PC2, PC3. I'm going to choose. I'm going to combine these 3 columns into my original data set along with your my data. For example, as of now, I have chosen only 3. This one I'm going to add this into your original data set called as my data. My data. See here, I'm going to do combined. Combined is nothing but your column bind. I'm going to do that. Column bind your data set name called as my data here, my data here, and PCA OBJ dollar scores from 1 to 3 columns this. Now I'm going to create a new data set called as my data once again. So if I run this line of code, what will be the dimension of the data set? Tell me, come on. Before running only, you should tell me the answer. If I run this, what will be your
25
what
by
will 25 by
9.
wrong? See, read once again. No,
25 by
Neha,
10.
wrong. Yes, it will be your 25 by 10.
10.
You can
By
see your
10.
original data set is having
7
25.
variables.
Bharat, you're wrong. You're having original data set with 7 variables, right? You're adding these 3 columns also. So 7 plus 3 is how much? 10. So you'll be getting 25 columns with, 25 rows with 10 columns. See here.
Columns.
That's it. See here. Original data set 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. From here it is 8th, 9th, 10th column. Got it? Clear for everyone? So it is nothing but 25 by 10. Got it, Bharat? Yes.
That
See here
1
it
is
is
to
26.
3.
Yes. Yes, Rakesh.
Instead of 1 is to 3, what happens if we just give 3? Because 1 is to 3, normally we use it,
From first
um,
column means you are choosing from first column to third column.
okay.
If you just give one instead of 1 is to 3, if you just give 3, what happens, right? You tell me,
Yeah.
Bharat. Sorry, you tell me, Rakesh. I am going to change this variable as my data 1. Tell me, Rakesh. I am going to remove this.
Only column 3rd will get added.
Only 3
Yes,
columns
only
will be
third
added.
column. No, third column, only not 3.
Yeah,
It will be third column will be get added. So I am going to change this into my, instead of my data, I am going to put it as data, because my data I have already added. So I'm going to put it as data. You can see here. So it will become how many? 7 observations. See here. You're able to see, Rakesh?
Yeah.
Only one column, third column is added. That's it. PC3 is been added to your data set. Okay, now instead of this, I have already shown you that my dimension of my data is nothing but your 25 by 10. So this ends your principal component analysis part. means you have reduced your number of columns from 6 columns to 3 columns you have chosen here. Now using these 3 columns, you should implement your clustering. You should implement your clustering. Got it? So read this line of code. I'm preparing a new data set called as class_data. So what I'll do is here, instead of class_data, I'm going to put a new data set called as new data. Okay, new data. And what is this line of code does? Rakesh, can you explain me this line of code? Rakesh.
My data, it will select 8th row, 10th column.
Rakesh, if you're telling 8th row, the answer will become wrong. See once again, it is not 8th row, it is 8th column, right, Rakesh?
8th column and
8th to 10th. 8th to 10th column it is going to take. That is nothing but your PC1, PC2 and PC3 you are going to choose and create a new data set called as new data. New data. See here, your new data is having only PC1, PC2, PC3. Clear? Your new data is having only PC1, PC2 and PC3. So what does this line of code does? Call names of new data. It will display your column names. It will display your column names, component 1, component 2, component 3. Okay, now forget about this. Here I'll come to this part. Later I'll go to that 4 lines of code. So here what I'm doing is no need of doing your clustering, but for example purpose I'm doing this line of code. So here I'm going to standardize my new data that is being created only for these 3 columns, right? We have created new data called as component 1, component 2, component 3. I'm standardizing this data by using your scale function and storing in a variable called as norm underscore. Instead of norm underscore class, I'll put it as norm underscore data. Norm underscore data. I'm going to run this. You'll be able to see the standardized or scaled or normalized data in a variable called as norm underscore data. There's no much difference here. So same component 1, 2, 3, but this is your standardized values. These are your standardized values.
But it looks the same. The values look same only. No?
Values will never be same. See here. Here it is minus 1.00. Yes. Yes, that is the reason I've told you it is not mandatory, but just in order to show how to do standardization, I'm using that scale function. And if you say this norm underscore data, it is not minus 1.00, it is 0.46. It is your way of understanding whether you want to implement your standardized data or not. That's it. Now.
But is it advised to better to do in the normalization, no?
It depends on your data. See, after doing PCA, you need not have to do. It is not mandatory. After implementing PCA, it is not mandatory. You can do it for your understanding purpose. It doesn't matter, or it doesn't make any sense. Even though if it doesn't do also, it doesn't make any sense. Even though if you don't do also, it doesn't make any sense. Now, after doing this norm underscore data, I am going to calculate the distance from first university to second, first to 3, first to 4, first to 5, like this, 1 to 25, next 2, 3, 2, 4, 2, 5, 2 to 25, next 3 to, like this. So until 24 to 25, I need to calculate the distance by using a function called as dist. Dist is a function to calculate your distance between the records. So I am passing dist function here, and I need to change my data set name called as class underscore data. Instead of that, I need to pass norm underscore data, or else directly you can pass your new data also, you can pass it. New data also you can pass it. Norm data is nothing but your scaled data, and here I am passing my Euclidean distance method is equal to Euclidean, and storing the distance in a variable called as dist1. Dist1. So your dist1, you'll be able to see your dist1 like this. See here. Here it starts from first, and here it starts from 2, because between 1 to 1 it will be same. So that's the reason I'm not going to run that. So it will be starting from 1 to 2, 1 to 3, 1 to 4 until your it is from 2 to 8 here. 2 to 8. Again it will go for next will be 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 like that. See 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 16. Next it will be from 17 to 24 because 25 to 25 it will be same. So either it will be 25 year or 25 year. So 25 to 25 will be same. So it is stopped at 25 and row wise it is 24. This is your distance. This is your distance. Now after calculation of your distance, you can implement your hierarchical clustering by using a function called as hclust. For implementation of your hierarchical clustering, am I using your SAT score, top 10 and your graduation rate columns, original columns?
Can you repeat the question, Yogesh?
For building your clustering as of now, for these steps, am I using your original columns is my question.
No.
No,
No.
right? What we are using?
No,
No.
you're using normalized data, scale data you're
Normally.
using.
No,
PC
it is not your normalized data. You are using your principal component scores, PC scores, right? PCA data. Yes.
Yeah.
That is your
Yeah,
common
principal,
sense.
yeah.
So don't tell it as normalized data. You should tell it as PCA data, your principal component data. Because I did not use all the columns, right? I'm only using PC1, PC2, PC3.
Okay.
Okay, here I'm passing the distance, whatever I've calculated for my hclust function. I'm passing that dist1 and I want to do in complete linkage method. I want to do it in complete linkage method. I'm going to pass this complete method and store it in a variable called as fit1. Fit1 I'm going to change. So now this fit1 will contain the output of your hierarchical clustering algorithm. Now I'm going to run this Windows function. So this is your pop-up window. Here I'm going to plot my dendrogram. See, here I'm passing the output of your hierarchical clustering that will give you dendrogram. And this ang is equal to -2. What it does? I've shown you this. Ang is equal to -1 or -2. What it does?
It rotates to -1.
Huh?
It
Yes,
rotates.
it is not for font alignment. It is not for rotation. It is for your alignment of your x-axis, right? Because it will be for your, it will be like this. So it will not be in a proper format. So that's the reason I'm going to use this ang is equal to -2 or -1 and display your dendrogram. See, this alignment will not be proper. So one will be here, another one will be here, another one will be here, another one will be here. So that's the reason I'm going to use ang is equal to -1. So this is your cluster dendrogram. So did we use your original data or PC data for implementation of your clustering? We used only PCA data. So instead of using 6 columns, I have built your cluster dendrogram using 3 columns. In your real time, yes.
Yogesh, will the result be same if we do the clustering using the original 6 with
Slightly there will be a variation, but almost it will be the same. Almost it will be the same.
Okay.
That is the reason you are going to use you are not changing your data, right? You are using same data, but you are reducing the number of columns from 6 columns to 3 columns. That is the implementation of your dimensional reduction. It is reducing the dimension. Now, as usual, cut tree function, you can use it and you can see I want 5 clusters so that you can get the numbers which university belongs to which cluster by using this cut tree function, and you can pass this fit1 and you can specify how many clusters you want and store it in a variable called as groups. Oh, one sec, sorry, by mistake. No.
Yeah, it's okay.
Okay, so I'm going to run this line of code. Cut tree fit1 comma 5. 5 is nothing but number of clusters. Now you can see if I run this groups, it is displaying which university belongs to which cluster. See here, 1 2 3 1 1 1 1 1 3 1 1 1 1 4 1 1 1 1. See, if you see two second cluster is having only one university, right? Second university belongs to second cluster and remaining everything belongs to other clusters. 5 clusters you're having 2, 3 you're having 1 2 2, 4 you're having 1 2 3 4 like this, but 1 is the major cluster here because most of the universities belongs to cluster 1. Cluster 1. And if you want to see it, instead of seeing in this way, you can also see it in your tabular format, that is by using your as.matrix function, or you can also use as.data.frame. Instead of displaying like this, you can display in this way, either using by this function as.matrix. So matrix is nothing but your rows and columns, or else you can use directly data.frame, as.data.frame, and you can pass these groups and store it in a variable called as membership underscore 1. So this is not instead of membership underscore 1, I'll put it as cluster number and run this. Now if you run this view of cluster number, you'll be able to see the group numbers in a tabular format, rows and columns format like this. That's it. That is the difference between your, that is the difference when you use this and when you use that. View of cluster number 1 2 3 like this. Now you can combine this data set along with your original data. So you are going to create a data set called as final one. You are doing column bind and you are using cluster number. I am going to add this cluster number to my original data set called as my data. Cluster number comma my data. I'm going to do the binding, that is nothing but your column bind and storing it in a new variable called as data set called as final one. If you want to see what is there in final one, you will be able to see original data set from year to year, PC1, PC2, PC3 year, and also the cluster number here, cluster number. But for implementation of cluster number, I did not use this original data set. I used only these three. So in your real time also, if you're having hundreds of columns, you can reduce it to 10 columns or 20 columns as per your requirement like this. You have you all installed R, right? I'm going to give you 10 minutes or 15 minutes of time. Okay, 15 minutes of time. I want you all to type here itself and I'll ask somebody to share the screen. You should explain this. Okay, and let me just finish this 2 to 3 lines of code extra and then I'll give you this assignment to do it in class itself. Now, see here. Now, I'm going to do this aggregate function. And aggregate function is based on your final one data set, and I'm not including my second column. Minus C means I'm not including your second column is your university name. If you see this final one, second column is your university name. I'm not including this, and 9 10 11. So these three I'm not including. Based on this, I'm going to group my clusters based on my cluster numbers. So that is the reason I've written my aggregate function over there. See here, final one minus C, second column, 9th column, 10th column, 11th column. Do the grouping based on your, here I should change it to cluster number because I don't have membership underscore 1. Here I'm having cluster number, so I need to pass that. And based on your mean means average. So you should take the 5 clusters average. First cluster might have 6 universities, second might have 3 universities, 3 might have 4 universities, fourth cluster might have 5 universities like this. So you should take the average of this cluster, average of this cluster, average of this cluster. So that is what I am doing here by using your aggregate function, and this mean is nothing but your average and storing it in a variable called as x.
Yogesh,
Now if you run
minus 2 C and 2 comma 9 is to 11. You're excluding the second column.
Yes, I'll come to this. See, anything written in your square parenthesis, rows, comma, columns, right? So here I'm writing comma. Comma means all the rows you should include. minus C. Minus C is a function which is used if you are deleting more than one column or one rows. You can do that. You can do that because I'm not only deleting single column, right? So if it was single column, I could have directly written it as comma minus 2. So now I'm deleting more than one column, 2, 9, 10, 11. So I'm going to write like this. Or else you can also write like this. 10, 11. This will also do the same thing. This will also do the same thing. Got it? If you want to remove more than one column, you should write it as minus C. Or if you want to remove more than one row, instead of giving comma, you should give it as minus C row numbers. 2 second row, third row, fourth row, comma. If you give it and close it, it will delete the entire second row, third row, fourth row, and it will include all the columns. It will include all the columns. That's it. And this is your final aggregate level data based on your cluster number. So out of this, which is your best cluster? Which one is your top one cluster? Don't just see only one column. You should see all the column and tell me which is your best first top one cluster.
Second one. Cluster number 2.
Others? Rakesh, Manju, Bharat, Lahari,
It looks like the second one.
Debanshu.
With respect to acceptance ratio, the second is
No, I'm
good.
see, that is what I'm telling you. Don't to see only acceptance ratio. I'm telling you to see each and everything. So let me see from second. So this is your having highest top score, SAT score, okay, and also top 10 is very good, 100%, and acceptance ratio is also very good. Student faculty ratio is also very good because for every 6 students you are having faculty, and the fees is also very high because if you want to enter into top 1 college, that is high, and the graduation rate is also second highest. So you can consider this as your top one, or let me see your first one. SAT score is lesser than second one, and top 10 is also less, and this is also more, and this is also more, and expense is okay, and graduation rate. So either of these two you can choose which one you want as based on conditions, based on a particular condition. If your client says that I want you to group the clusters based on your graduation rate, based on your graduation rate, so which is your top one cluster then?
First one.
First one.
Yes, then obviously it is first one because your first university is having 92,000 as your 92.37% as the graduation. If my client says that based on your fees, do me the top ranking, highest fees should be the top one, then second cluster becomes your, yes, like this. So like this your requirement changes, but you can do what according to your requirement what has to be done. So after doing this, if you want to write your final one data set into your local system, or if you want to write this x into your local system, you can use write.csv function, and you can pass this x variable, whatever we have run, right, just x, you can store it in your variable called as whatever name you want, you can give agg univ, you can pass it as .csv, and if you want to get where it will be stored, it will be stored in your documents. It will be stored in your documents like this. So let me go to your documents and see. See here, AGG univ, I have written here, it has been created just now at 8:26 p.m. So open your RStudio now. Come on, open your RStudio. It's taking a long time to open my Excel.
Can you drag and drop otherwise?
Can do that
Can
also.
you use drag and drop is better than No, just from the Microsoft Windows
Yeah,
Explorer, just drop it.
I can do that also, or else you can directly open also. So it's taking time. I did not do that. See this. So this is how your clustering is being done. One sec. So now, see, after doing your PCA, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you one more this thing. It is simple. See here, I'm going to use only component 1, PC1, PC2, PC3 from your final data set. From your final data set, I'm going to use only component 1, component 2, component 3, and I'm predicting my graduation rate. I'm predicting my graduation rate. This is one way. See here. And also, I'm going to build one more model called as model 2, predicting my graduation rate, predicting my same graduation rate using all the original columns, like SAT plus top 10 plus acceptance ratio plus student faculty ratio, SF ratio, right? SF ratio plus expenses plus, okay, only graduation rate. Graduation rate is your output. For example, I'm showing you this. So I'm going to write this line of code LM and I'm predicting my graduation rate by using my original data set. And here I'm passing it as model 2. Now let me see the accuracy of your model. Accuracy of the model is how much here? See, none of the variables are significant if you directly use it, and you need to go for something else. It is only 71%, but none of the variables are significant. None of the variables are significant. Then I'm going for instead of using all this original, I'm going for only PC1, PC2, and PC3, and build your model, that is model 1, and see the output of this. So whether it is increasing or decreasing, let me see by using summary of model 1. See how much it has increased. See, PC1 is also significant, 2 is also significant, 3 is also significant, beta naught is also significant, but along with that, your accuracy rate, you can see it is 95%. 95%. This is the advantage of using your PCA when it comes to your real time. If you're having more than 50 columns, you can reduce it to 10 columns or 15 columns, and then you can implement regression, or you can implement clustering, or you can implement logistic regression. Anything you can implement. This is the advantage of doing PCA.
Yogesh, one doubt here.
Yeah.
So whenever we apply PCA, though, we get a better this thing, right? R square value will be more higher, right? In this case.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. It is not
So
only
it is like
always better.
better to.
Sometimes it might be worse. It might be worst also, right? You cannot decide before implementing. Only you cannot decide.
Okay.
You need to check it out. If you don't check it out, you'll not come to know that after applying PCA, I'm going to get a better result. You cannot do that.
Okay.
clear for everyone? So I'm going to give you 2 minutes, sorry, not 2 minutes, 15 minutes of time. I want you all to execute it in your system and display your screen. So now it is 8:32. Let me take it as a consideration from 8:33. So use your university dataset. I've already sent that. Type it in your system. Type it in your system. One sec. I'm going to open it in Notepad. I'm going to paste it over here. Font, I'm going to slightly reduce it. This 2 lines of no use. This one is also of no use. Type it. I'm going to give you 8:33 now. 8:49, 45. Okay, 8:50. I want. I'll be picking randomly. I want you all to display whatever I've done it. I'm just doing the same thing. I'll be taking 2. Is it done? Oh, Bharat, you don't have RStudio. Okay, fine. Others? Error in X must contain finite values only. So what is the error you are doing? Neha. Neha, can you display your screen to me? I'm going to give you an access for make presenter. Just share your screen.
Sorry, Yogesh,
Yes.
I lost your screen.
Huh?
I
Oh,
lost your
1 sec.
screen.
Oh, yes. I've just given her the screen request. So just 1 sec. Neha, can you share me your screen? Okay. No, Sneha. 1 sec. 1 sec. Others. So now I'm giving you the presenter access. Try to share it now, Neha. Neha, are you sharing the screen? No, we are not able to see your screen, Neha. Does anyone able to see the screen? Neha's screen? Okay, Ram, you're also getting the same error. Okay, can Ram share the screen? Okay, I'll make Ram as new presenter. One sec. I'm making Ram as the presenter now. Ram, you're the new presenter. Please share your screen.
Yeah, I'm trying here, but it's not taking it.
It's not taking.
Yeah. There's a display shows that become a presenter, start sharing, but it's not enabled. It's that icon is not enabled.
Oh, one sec. Let me just. I'll make you as an organizer as well as presenter, then try. Ram, can you do now? Ram, is it possible now?
No, still the same. Unable to. It's showing become a presenter, start sharing the screen, but I'm unable to do that still.
Okay, fine. So
I can send you a screenshot.
yeah, what else you do is you can just send me that line of code and the error. Just ping me on chat
Yes.
window.
Yeah,
Please
sure.
others continue your work. And yeah, you can ping me your code on chat window. Just can somebody ping me the screenshot of your data set? Open the data set. Send me the screenshot of your data set. on WhatsApp group.
I can't send WhatsApp group.
Why you can't send?
Oh, okay, you
On
want to
Sky,
send screen? Okay.
I just pinged you on Sky Data Science 1, right? Just ping the screenshot of that view column. So you open your, yes, one sec. One person is enough. Fine. Okay, fine. Sanjay has sent. Okay, Ram has sent the code. Ram,
I think
where
we
are
need
you
to
getting the
remove
error?
the first two columns. University and state
Yeah,
we need to remove.
yes, you should do that. That is the common sense, right? So that's the reason I asked you. Neha got the answer for that. In your data set, you're having second column as state. So I told you, right, you should remove your non-numerical data. Don't do exactly copy paste. That's the reason I gave you this assignment. So if you do exact copy paste, then it's of no use, right? For everything you are doing same thing. Getting Dabanshu, Lahari, what is the mistake they have done? You should use here from third column till your eighth column or ninth column. Whatever the data set you're having, you should use that. First one and second one you should not include because first one is your university names, second one is your state column. State column. Rakesh. Getting Rakesh? Ratnesh? I think you guys need more time. What I'm going to do is I'm going to share this code in your RStudio, but don't copy paste. If you do copy paste also it will not work because there are some extra columns here. Second column, you should do some manipulation. So let me see who will complete and send me this on WhatsApp. Okay, I'm going to share you this code on WhatsApp. Sorry, through your mails.
You want to check till the linear regression that what you had done earlier,
Yeah,
like
I'm
that.
checking it. Yes, I'm checking that also. Cyber, Manju, Rakesh, Ranjani, Sanjay, Lahari, Megha, Debanshu, Satish. Then who else is missing? Neha, Lahari, Manju, Neha, Debanshu, Anjali, Ratnesh, Sanjay, S. Kumar. Okay, so I'm going to send you the code. Please try to do it. I'm going to just copy this directly and paste it over here. Okay, just sending it. Rakesh, I want you to send. Don't miss. Rakesh, Ratnesh, Bharat, you will be doing it after going home. Right? Okay, I want you all to send this. So tomorrow we'll implement same thing using Python. We'll implement same thing using Python. So after this is done, that is tomorrow is Thursday. From Friday, we are going to learn a new algorithm called as K nearest neighbor classification algorithm. K nearest neighbor Friday, and Monday it will be a decision trees. And today also we had one of my participants had an interview with Accenture and had only referred him, but ultimately I was also on the team of the panel. So please make sure that I'm telling you from beginning, please try to complete, concentrate, you can get jobs. So I'm going to stop at this point. I want you all to ping your answers, that is your final aggregate answers, and your entire code what you have written in your editor window onto my WhatsApp, that is the group. Don't display or don't ping me personally, display it on your Sky Data Science 1 group. Okay, thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Good
Good
night.
night.